Okay. So did you want to like talk about the character a little bit at all, or do you want me to like start with my stuff?
Um, no, I mean I'm happy to talk about the character. Like I've been, thinking about him quite a bit, and I'm pretty excited to see what you've come up with. I mean, I think, I've been spending a lot of time with like the visuals, right? Because I think that's such a source of inspiration in Champions Now, and I'm thinking a lot of the time, even though he can be this very like ostentatious and kind of flamboyant, creature, like when he's all stretched out and everything. Uh, a lot of the time, he's wearing like this big heavy cloak, right? Because if he weren't, people could tell that he was this otherworldly creature right away. Um,
Right, that's right. Yeah, his unusual looks is
I changed it up to the first time it was like creepy, and now it is who's that spooky guy in the cloak? So more like
okay.
spooky. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. What's the dice roll on that?
That one is an 11 or lower.
Okay, so pretty. Uh,
Yeah.
and all right, let me send this map
Okay.
from my phone to this conversation. Share and correct messages. Share to Noah. I think this is going to go to the right place. Let's see. Okay, there it is.
Oh, nice. I love this.
Yeah, this is the quote legible unquote map of the city. Okay, so uh, I did this kind of like I have my own couple of maps in my notebook that are
Cool.
readable by me, but not by anyone. But, so this is Specularum,
Okay.
and um, what's the way into this from here? Okay, so I named your DNPC, your the lover character, Lady Vlana, and so 50 years ago when she was a young woman, uh, she was a paladin, and I guess she still technically is retired paladin, and she assisted at she was at the siege of Specularum where uh, the God, I made so many characters' names. Oh yes, okay.
Yeah.
Where Baron von Gast attempted to rebelled against the king of Karameikos and attempted to overthrow the kingdom. Led his army to the gates of Specularum with the assistance of his court magician Bargle the Betrayer, who was the guy who owned your lamp
Ooh,
at
okay.
the time. And so this is where I'll feel you out on this.
Yeah.
This might be a little whether you want the character connections to be super loose or super tight, but one possibility is that he actually had you at the battle and sent you to assassinate Lady Vlana.
Love it.
And
Yeah.
yes, right. And then, but instead,
Yeah.
okay.
That is
And,
awesome.
and so at that battle, Baron von Gast was defeated. Bargle fled to parts unknown, and Specularum was saved, and with like the kingdom stabilized, began like this new era of growth. So this part called Newtown is all basically new construction from the time of that battle, and so there's this sort of like Lady Vlana is a noble in the power structure of the city. She was one of the founders of the Order of the Silver Dagger, which is a sort of semi-religious paladin and cleric, like Holy Brotherhood or whatever, or
Nice.
holy order that's also like integrated in the power structure of the city and the kingdom. And then there's sort of a King Hendrik, rules from the Grand Citadel, which is where all of the power politics happens. On top of Royal Hill, around Royal Hill are the various like residences of the town residences of the various noble families, wealthy merchants, and so on. If you look at some of these notations, we've got like Victory Square features a statue commemorating the battle, uh, with just dramatic soldiers fighting, goblins and orcs and things like that. And at number 4 is the von Lutz house, which is so this is Lady Vlana's family, Vlana von Lutz, but and she could live there if she wanted, but she has her own home with basically a couple of servants at number 3, and she chose this location to overlook the river and look at the new town beyond. And this is sort of, for her, it's very important. As you said in your situations, for her, she's very old. She's sort of in her last years and she's not getting around very well. And she spends a lot of time in her bedroom with, like right up against the window looking out on the city, which, she's very invested in as, a legacy that she's participated in.
Yeah.
And those are the mainly important things. The
I
shrine
love
to
that.
Alva the Lightmaster this is sort of like a religious building that. So there's Alva the Lightmaster discovered the source of the river Luminous and harnessed its positive energy powers to create like the foundation for like good or lawful society in Karameikos. And so
Okay.
she's sort of honored as an immortal, this is a little bit self-indulgent, but this is all based on like the
Oh yeah.
immortal section of the Mincer D&D, where but in Karameikos, the humans in Karameikos have this sort of newfangled idea that they revere the immortals, or they honor the immortals. They don't worship gods. That's super old fashioned. Like
Okay. Yeah.
this is just some like background information based on the fact that I'm just, like I said, I'm being really self-indulgent here. The Mincer box set was produced at like the high point of like Satanic Panic,
Okay.
so there's no like, oh, there's no gods. We
Right.
wouldn't want people to think this was like a religious thing. So I decided to just roll with that, and so that's like the situation in Specularum. They've got this like what they think of as a traditions and festivals and holidays honoring Alva the Lightmaster, but they think they don't have a religion. They don't know what religion is, but they do
And I
religion
like
all
the
the
cosmopolitan, feel of
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We're not like those barbarians. We pay our respects, but worship, no. That's beneath us.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not even necessarily what the main stuff the session is going to be about. But it's there. It's there.
Cool. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay. So that's an overview of what's going on and sort of like Lady Vlana's place in it. You would be in her house in your lamp.
Mhm.
Uh, I assume she probably what did she have it on like a cabinet or something, or in a little armoire with glass doors? There's just a lamp there, and
Yeah,
everyone thinks
pride of
it's
place,
a lamp. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I
uh,
and I mean, I think I was kind of reflecting on just the starting situation and where my character would be, and I think he's probably trying to spend as much time away as possible, because it is. I think the prospect of losing Havlana is very painful,
yeah.
right? And kind of seeing her struggle is very painful as well. So he's kind of, sometimes he's there, very solicitous, very obviously sounds like she has the servants to take care of her, right? But then other times he kind of feels the need to be somewhere else.
Okay, so
Yeah.
where would he go? Like, what would he be doing?
I mean, I think he hasn't given up his profession, so he spends
Right.
kind of like Fafford and the Grey Mouser. He spends a lot of time in the less savory parts of town, listening to gossip and looking for work.
Okay. Okay. So I sort of like on the map. I sort of imagine like the canal district as being like the kind of commercial slash pleasure district of the city, and sort
Yeah,
of like people cruise around on these barges and like go to bars and things like that. And so
nice.
that's like probably where you spend your time. Um, but I think at some point someone like one of sort of like Lady Vlana's sort of valets or manservants would track you down and
Hmm.
say, and sort of whisper, my lady wanted to talk to you. I she's very insistent, and it's very urgent.
And you know, big cloak, crouched over the bar, with my drink, probably looking very shadowy and sullen. And yeah, I mean, it's probably they know which bar to go to. I've been going to the same bar for like 100 years or something. Uh,
Okay.
uh, so yeah, uh, I mean, probably my kind of blue uh hand shoots out of the cloak and like grasps this guy's arm and says, is everything all right? Is the Lady Vlana in good health? Because when I the first thing I think is like she's fallen, or oh, so she's taken a turn for the worse.
Okay. I'm gonna name Ferdinand. Go ahead and make a perception roll. Just
Okay, that is intelligence, correct?
yeah, I'm making intelligence roll.
Ooh, I succeeded.
Okay. So so he starts telling you that she's like she seems like, oh, she seems very shaky and very very pale, and I just she could go at any time. But like, you've kind of seen this with Ferdinand before. He's a very dramatic character, and personally he's personally very loyal to her and is very annoyed that you are spending all this time in bars instead of like sitting by her bedside, like with her hand in your hand, weeping tears of pity. Uh,
Okay.
so
Uh, I tell. So I think I remove my hand. It draws back into the cloak, and I say, Ferdinand, you go ahead. Uh, I know. I know that you don't understand, how I'm processing this, but I need to grieve in my own way, and I'm gonna try to get him to kind of leave me alone, and I'll find my own way back.
all right, he sort of gets up and walks away and says, "I'm grieving." He calls it grieving that he didn't grieving that he didn't draw to a king on that last hand. More likely, or
Yeah. Uh, maybe, you know, jokes on him. I do have, the king or something. So, yeah.
yeah. Last panel of this scene is like you look you look at your hand and there's the king.
Yeah.
Eric.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, I'll finish this hand, this round, then, rather loudly say, well, goodbye, gents, see you tomorrow. And kind of a little bit woozily head out the door, and um, yeah, I mean, this is kind of shitty, but I think I'm trying to kind of assert some independence of Lana because I'm kind of afraid that when she dies, like I'm gonna die in some, not physically, but like in some emotional way, right? So I'm trying to like differentiate, and maybe I'm projecting that onto Ferdinand right now, So I've got the thought bubble over my head, grumbling about Ferdinand, and I'm gonna take kind of a circuitous route through the Canal District, right, and kind of take my time getting back, but I'll make it back home just slowly.
Okay. Okay. So you finally arrive back at her house, and I guess we can, imagine you climbing a couple of flights of stairs through these halls that are kind of lined with these mementos of, old swords and pieces of
Yeah.
armor and like framed documents from like all of the different work she's been involved in and the different, you know, order. Like she was involved with founding this order of the Silver Dagger, so there's probably like a framed copy of the charter on the hallway. But like this, just like the history of her life unfolds as you go up these stairs to her bedroom, where
Mm.
she's sitting like by the window with like there's a lamp burning by her bedside, like a soft sort of violet light. It's a magic lamp. Why not?
Ooh, yeah.
Not your magic lamp.
Not that magic. Yeah.
Different magic, regular light projecting light. Anyway, and she's looking out. I think I like to imagine this as like maybe this is not technically her bed, but like she's got a bay window
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's kind of propped up on some cushions
Hmm.
in the bay window, and like you can see like the glittering lights of the city down below, which are
Oh,
anachronistically glittering lights.
yes.
is, is this medieval or what's going on? It's kind of like fantasy, a fantasy world with like medieval looking architecture, but there's like bright little lamps and lanterns everywhere.
Hell yeah.
No doubt some like everyday magic, and like the river sort of glows from within with the soft glow of like fish that communicate by pulses of light that swim through it, which is where it gets the name, the
Mhm.
river. And she's sort of looking out at this, and she, just says, I never get tired of this view. I just hope that when I'm gone, it lasts for a long time.
And
Uh,
and you, telling me about those first floors that I'm walking through, I think probably my, weird, messed up mood kind of lifts as I see, like her old armor, probably portraits of
yeah,
her, right? And so by the time I'm, going up that last flight of stairs, I'm no longer walking, I'm, hovering and kind of
yeah,
hurrying to her, right? And so now
right.
I'm, on my knees beside her bed. I have, her hand in mine, kind of chivalrically, and yeah, I mean, I say, this, you know, uh, this city, will never forget you, Vlana, and even when this city is dust, I will remember you.
Okay. She says, "There's something I want you to do for me.
Anything?
I've I've been hearing, you know, bad rumors about my nephew Adrian. Uh, and so Adrian Van Lutz is the when did I write it down? He is the Marquis of Wildwoods. So his land is sort of at the northern border of Karameikos, and he's sort of like in charge of watching these borderlands and maintaining guard against potential foreign enemies. And so she says he, as you know, the ambassador from the Alphatian Empire is going to come to our city soon, no doubt to talk of either an outright alliance or at least a pact of non-interference in their affairs in their ongoing war with Thyatis. I can spell these names in the chat later,
Oh yeah.
but the point is, there's this empire, and like she says, but I've heard gossip that Adrian has been seen talking to Alphatian agents in his castle at the border, and I'm worried that he might be planning something that would be wrong. Maybe it's nothing, but could you look into him, maybe do a little snooping and find out what's going on with him and stop him from doing, well, to be blunt, I'd like you to stop him from doing anything that would be treason. And but don't he's still my nephew, and don't let on. If there's some way you can keep anything bad from happening with him, but keep it quiet, you would be helping me. You would be putting my mind to rest.
I Lana, I understand that as he's family, you'd want someone close to you to look into this, but why not involve other authorities? As I'm just a simple sellsword. I don't know that I'm cut out for all of that politicking.
You don't have to do any politics. Just snoop into his papers and see what's actually going on. Like I said, I don't want this to be out in the open. That's why I don't want to talk to the king or anything like that. I just think maybe he's going to do something he could that's a mistake that he could be persuaded to reconsider, and then it could all go away. Or potentially he could be, maybe you could uh, keep him indisposed for a while so he doesn't have a chance to do anything.
For you, your wish is my command. If I can, requisition, a carriage or something, I'll depart for his estate tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. She says, that makes me feel better. Now I'm going to just sleep for a little bit. But thanks. She squeezes your hands and says, "Thank you for being."
And I think quietly, uh, I say, we still have that window, in front of us. What will this city do without you? You know, uh, and meaning, what am I gonna do without you? Yeah.
Uh,
So, uh, I mean, yeah, like how would I get to this to the estate? And do I like would I know anything? Like, have I met Adrian before? Do I know anything about him? Like, how old is he? Is he a kid?
so I'm gonna no, he's in his 30s at this point. He's the son of her brother
Okay,
who is deceased. So he's now sort of the head of the family in addition to being the Marquis of Wildwoods. And you so I'm assuming that Lady Vlana is sort of has kept you kind of a secret over the years, but
yeah,
you've heard a lot. I don't know, you've just heard a lot about him, just general family drama type stuff. You
right,
haven't heard anything about him being a particular, villain or threat or but all you've heard about him is just sort of like a portrait of him as kind of, I don't know, a, kind of a rash, hot-headed guy, but not in a way that's unusual for a young man in his 20s.
yeah,
You know,
with his own estate. Yeah,
with his own estate. Yeah,
yeah,
gets to tell people what to do. Yes.
yes. Um, okay. Uh, I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I might. Send a message, to my friends at the bar, saying I'm going to be gone for a couple of days. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think I take off, first thing in the morning, just carrying my cloak, and then, under it my lamp. I have to bring it with me since I have the dependence on it. Yeah,
Okay. Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah. I didn't think about that.
yeah,
Responsible for your own lamp.
right.
Uh, where were we? You were going to take a carriage to the, or your plan was like first thing in the morning. You were going to
Yeah,
start doing whatever you were going to do, and we can think about like let's go back to the character sheet and like think about how that intersects with what you could do or what resources you would have to
yeah.
do something like what she's asking. So I forgot where I put your character. did you did you put? Oh, you posted it in the thing with your brother when he was going to be playing. Uh,
Yes, and I'll drop it into our one-on-one chat too.
okay.
Let's see. Yeah, the sharing should be open, so but let me
Yeah.
know
Okay.
if not. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Okay. So
and I guess like when I said that, I was imagining myself going in a somewhat more official capacity, like being a representative of the Lady Vlada, but if she wants it to be kind of more on the down low, then I'll have my own probably approach to it.
okay. So like what? So how do you think you would go into it?
Yeah, so
Like
how far away is Wildwood part of the city? Um or is it, a
no wild
distance away?
no Wildwoods is far away, but he is currently in the city at the Von Lutz town townhouse.
Ah,
He,
okay.
I guess to clarify, like when this ambassador comes to town, there's going to be some like official talks, and he's
Mhm.
sort of high enough place to be in the room where those talks happen. So he's sort of going to be part of the official welcoming deputation,
Cool. Okay.
the official negotiating deputation.
Oh, okay. No, that actually, okay, that makes it a lot easier. So I think what I would do first, I'm kind of approaching this like, one of my jobs. So first step is, researching your person of interest. So I'd probably go into relevant parts of the city, draw on contacts, throw some coin around, and maybe try to get a lead on any is Alphatian agents, and see, if I can draw a line between any of those agents and Von Lutz, uh, you know, places where they might be meeting, where I might be able to, you know, be present and eavesdrop, things like that.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of whether. So you'll definitely make a detective work role.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of exactly whether this role is whether you get something or nothing,
Mhm.
or
Oh yeah, take your time, and maybe just to color it up. I'm. I mean, I think I'm probably casting a wide net. Uh, Again, I'll spend a couple of nights, out at the bars talking to, um, the kinds of people who, make a slim and dangerous living, trading information about spies. Uh, and part of it might even be that, if I can shake the web enough, maybe one of these agents is going to come to me. I think I'm
right,
being very open about it. I'm not approaching it in this super like stealthy, clandestine way.
right. And so, okay. So go ahead and make the detective work role and
Okay.
make a separate perception roll for
Okay.
something else.
Cool. So detective work roll is a failure. I've got a 17.
Okay.
Perception roll is a success with 10.
Okay. So let's see. Triangulate these things
Hell yeah.
together. Okay, so you have been like on the trail of a you've gotten on the trail of this Alphatian purchasing agent who is in town to buy. He's looking to he's basically looking at properties to buy to establish an official embassy in
Oh, okay.
the, the official Alphatian embassy in Specularum, and so he's been moving around the town looking at properties, but you're sort of you know network, or your sort of people say this guy or that guy has been employed to show him around. Well, I've been employed to show him around the canal district. Like the bargeman is like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was, you know, he went to this bar, he went to that bar, and then so you're sort of like, uh, following these leads. But this is all pretty above board stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no law against buying a house. Um, but so you're trying to like maybe you're staking this guy out,
Hmm.
and uh, you know what? I need to make a.
Yeah. Yeah. No rush.
Um, and so you're sort of like maybe on a rooftop staking
Hmm.
this guy's house out when for a while now you've been having the sensation that that you're being followed,
Hmm.
and so you turn around and look into like sort of in like the attic window of one of these houses behind you. You see, you're sort of like shocked to see a figure covered in a tattered hooded cloak with sort of a gaunt, straggly beard, staring intensely at you, and you recognize the face of Bargle the Betrayer, your old
Whoa.
man, in the window for just a moment. But then suddenly, while you lock eyes with him, you are hit from a side that you weren't expecting by a sticky, sticky spider web,
Okay.
which is a 5d6 entangle,
Ooh.
and that is going to have well, it's a pretty good roll. That's going to have five, seven body. Uh,
Okay.
and, and as you look around at like what's happened to you. You're sort of on this roof, like these sort of local ruffian bodyguard types are like climbing up the side stairs of this building you're on the top of, and you're hearing their voices saying, that elfation fellow's wrapped him up nicely. This will be an easy this will be an easy job, lads.
Nice. Okay. Now, let's see. If this stuff is sticky, then I probably can't just shapeshift my way out of it, right?
Well, I mean that's not an unreasonable. Like, how do you imagine you're stretching? Like, the
Yeah,
name of the power is I am what I imagine. So,
that's right.
I mean, it's sticky, but
Oh well, and let's see if my let's see how much body I can get through with my D solid. Oh, 6 body, so it's just over,
just enough. Wow.
right?
And that was just on the dice roll. Like,
Yeah,
it it could easily have been less, right?
yeah, I love that.
So
Um, okay, so yeah,
you
I
could,
mean, oh, go
now
ahead.
you can like maybe you can put. I always forget how pushing your works, but you could push your D solid and actually take it through. I think get through the extra body. Am I wrong
Yes,
there?
no, no, I could. It would require. Let's see, I'd need.
Pushing for a stick. Where is that
I think I'd
pushing?
need two to take 2d6 of endurance. Let's
There
see.
it is. Two endurance equals two body phase, 2 points. Yeah, so you Yeah, so you would need to roll 2 dice, right, to
Right.
push for the okay. So
I
and you would
think
pay for so you would pay for like the
yes.
6 that you would need to get through the 6 body, and then plus 2 dice of it.
Which I think, given my endurance reserves, I'm actually going to take my swords out and try to uh, slice through this stuff.
Okay. And so your swords, you're basically doing like 66 from your strength plus the piercing blast.
Mhm.
And the piercing ignores.
And I think I'll just roll those as two separate die pools because
Yeah,
the blast is gonna just go right through whatever defenses this has.
yeah. I built this without defense. It's just the body, so it's just the
Oh,
straight
cool.
dice.
Okay, sweet. So, and I'll just read the core then. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5, so I'm slicing away, but this stuff
Okay.
is very sticky.
All right. Let's look at a.
And do you want to start mapping this to the speed chart?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Where? Let me actually get a photo of the speed chart. We should probably
Cool.
talk about this. So, for the benefit of any viewers, uh, right? I suggested using the old Champions Third Edition 12 phase speed chart, and the reason for that is that I wanted to see how it. Well, I've used it before, and like this is kind of a diversion from the game, but it's probably worth talking about because I've been playing a lot of Champions now with Alan and John, and I'm pretty good at using the six phase speed chart.
Mhm.
And so when I came up with this idea for using the 12 phase speed chart, the thing that was interested me, it was because in the 6 phase speed chart, the difference between 2 and 3 and 4 is very high in terms of high impact in terms of just like what you can do. And I was sort of interested in seeing if the what am I trying to say? Like I know why I wanted to do it. It was because there's more like slices and
Yes.
seeing if you added more slices and more like breaks where the phases of different characters didn't quite line up with each other, if you got more interest back in the game. This is now what you give up. What I've discovered. What I'm gonna be giving up by doing that is with the 6 phase chart. I can keep the entire chart in my head. Like when I'm
Right.
playing an Alan's game, like I just know wherever I'm not even the game master. I just know when everyone is going to do what they're going to do, and so that makes it very easy to coordinate with John and like know exactly whose attack is coming in at what time and when I can dodge,
Right.
and then I'll get my because I have the speed 4 character. I'll get my attack anyway after I dodge, and so on and so forth. With the 12 chart, like I can sort of already tell that it's going to be a little harder. It's going to be harder to do that, but like I committed to it, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. I gave Bargle a speed of 7 for the record, so
Ooh,
we're
cool.
going to
Okay.
we're going to see how that works. But you can see how that's a different ratio of like phases
Hmm.
between 6 and 7 versus 6 and 8 would be the same with three and 4, right?
Right.
It'd be 4 phases for every 3 phases. Seven
Yes.
phases for every 6 phases is a narrower advantage, right? And so
Right.
is that interesting or not? I don't know.
We'll find out.
Now. Um, Anyway, so all of that was a prologue to me actually going into my thing and getting this speed chart phase chart that I made and posting it in the thing.
Cool.
And then so these will be hazards. So basically, the earliest the hazard could have gone is 3. So that'll be what phase it was when that web hit you, and then so you'll act on 4.
Okay.
You'll act on 4, and then you'll act on 6, and then the hazards, these dudes, the wizard and these dudes coming up to collect you will not go again until the end of 6.
Okay. And could you tell me what are all the phases I'll go on as a speed 6? Is it 4, 6, 8,
It's
10?
it's every
Okay.
other phase. Here, I'm putting this in the chat right now.
Awesome. Okay, sweet. And then the hazards, let's see. And the hazards have a functional speed of 6, is that right?
4. Uh,
Okay, so they're could
so
oh yeah,
they're
you
going.
have this
So they're
fancy chart
going
here.
3, 6, 9, 12. Right.
Okay,
Uh,
nice. Perfect. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, so that was my phase 4 move, was slicing away, all but one of the body of this web, and I'm imagining I've still got just some of it hanging off of me. I'm still kind of getting those last threads off, and then I
yeah.
guess we are on to phase 6. And do I go ahead of the hazard?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I'm. I don't know what the official rule on. I gave the hazard a dex, effective dex. That may be wrong, but
Nice.
that's what that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so and tell me if this requires a roll. Um, as I am slicing the last of this web away, so I'll go ahead and spend 2 more endurance just to make sure I get it, and I'll roll just because I could roll 2 ones, but nope. I do destroy the last of that body. I am kind of And I'm imagining since it's just one body, right? Like I can kind of chop at it with my sword without giving it my full attention. So I am swiveling, I'm looking around, and I'm really trying to get the lay of the land here. So, uh, I would love to know, anything I can about how many uh, hooligans are up against me. Where did that web come from? Uh, like how high up we are, any significant features of this rooftop environment we're on. I think Sully's really trying to situate himself here.
Okay, so to really situate is like you would have to make an orientation roll as a full phase action.
Okay.
But for the time being, like what from you're on a rooftop that's across maybe an avenue or boulevard worth of space from the kind of like apartment that this agent has taken in town, and so the rooftop is, if we imagine, maybe 2 hexes wide by,
Okay.
maybe you're on a little like balcony that's
Yeah.
like 2 hexes by 3 hexes, and then these hooligans or whatever they are coming up like a little side staircase, and that's 2. I guess a floor is like 2 hexes, so it's like 6 hexes off the ground. So they spent the whole phase 4 getting up the stairs, and now they're going to sort of pile on top of you, and this is effectively another
Yeah.
they're effectively another layer of entangled. So
Right.
not as much of But that's gonna be like, oh, it's only four body of human entangle.
Okay, so they're like jumping on me and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
club
There,
me, and yeah.
yeah. And I think they're trying to not like just stab you, which is their other option. So there's not going to be
Right.
any piercing damage incoming, but uh, that might come to that. We'll see. But
Okay.
that's their six, right? So now you've got an eight, and then they've got a nine, then you've got a 10, then you've got a 12. They've got a 12.
Nice. Okay, so as a a zero phase action, I can do that like at any time during my turn. I can like switch on a power, switch it
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay, thanks. And I'll read up more on the combat chapter for next week. Okay, so I'm going. You know, they only have four body, so I am going to go ahead and spend an additional four endurance. So I've got 24 out of 36 now, and just phase through them. So, they pile on me, and I just like, flow, out of the middle of them, and they're like, maybe one of them like hits the other, or something. Uh,
Right. And
and,
I
oh,
forget you have flight, right?
you can kind of fly
You can just
through,
float with the solid, right? Yeah.
right. Uh,
Okay.
so I think what I'm going to do is, I turn on this power, and my main uh, I am going to move away. And is there like another? Is there another story above this one? Um,
And
or are we kind of at the
no,
top?
well,
Okay.
I think you're sort of like on a penthouse balcony type situation. So there's like one more like offset story behind you. So yeah, you're like second story from the top.
Okay. Then I'm going to and I should have. Let's see. Yeah, I get 15 hexes of quote unquote flight. So I'm assuming to get up there would be like maybe 3 hexes of movement.
Yeah, that's down. That sounds good.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
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 I'm gonna kind of pour over them and flow up onto that other story, and then reform with my scimitars in my hand, and say, uh, "All right, I'm gonna give you one chance to leave, and if you don't take it, I'm not responsible for what happens to you next." Uh, and I'm looking very smoky, and I don't have the legs anymore. I've got the long tendril of blue
yeah.
smoke.
The smoke,
Yeah.
right?
My eyes are blazing. My scimitars are flashing in the lights of the city. And I mean, I don't want to kill these guys. So I'm gonna genuinely give them a chance. I don't know if you can make presence attacks against hazards.
Uh, you can, but well, yeah, they considered to have 2d6 presence. Let's go ahead and do it.
Cool.
Uh, so let's see, you are visibly demonstrating a power. It is combat, so you get the. I was just reading about this. You get a pretty heavy penalty. Like, you get a minus 3d6 for
Okay,
like
so
mid hazard, but you will get your presence minus 3d6 plus exhibiting a power is. I always have to look this up. I think Alan made some uh
yeah, let
some
me find it. I do
ref,
love that table.
reference sheets that are very helpful in these situations, but I can't remember where I filed them.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'm looking too. One of us will find it.
check another. Is this all going in the video?
Oh yeah.
Realistic search time. Wait, I'm
We're on the
actually.
learning curve, you know. It's
I should. Yeah, I should know this better, but like it's been a while since I've actually looked up the presence table since Alan is usually doing it in the game I'm playing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
No worries.
All right. Oh wait. Oh, in combat minus 1d6. Okay, so it's not that bad.
And what page are you on? Sorry.
I'm actually in Alan's
Oh,
like
nice.
play,
Okay.
play reference document. I can actually download this and send you a copy. This is extremely helpful. Um,
Sweet.
Contradict the prevailing mood. I think the official rule is you
Oh, here it is. Okay. Minus 1d6.
yeah, it's minus 3d. Yes, it's minus 3d6 for contradicting the prevailing mood of the target.
Okay.
Uh, so that's minus 4. However, setting is appropriate. You've described a pretty dramatic, like Batman moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the 2 + 2d6 for that and
Nice.
exhibiting the power plus 3d6. So I think you're at a net. Your presence is 4, right?
3.
3. Okay, you're at a net minus 1d6 to your base presence. So,
Okay. Cool. I'll take it.
kudos.
Oh, 0.
Okay. Okay, they have 3s, so they're like.
That's awesome. Sorry.
So I think one of the thugs yells out, "Hey, hey, this guy, this genie guy cheated me at blackjack. Get him!"
Okay. All right.
And then I think you hear like from the street below, you hear another voice, like a cultured voice, saying, uh, "Bring me that genie." I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And do I recognize? Is that Burgle? Is that?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no.
okay. It's someone different. Okay.
This is an Alphatian.
Okay. Cool.
So, and I'm trying to think if he will. Yeah, he'll go ahead and shoot his magic missile. So, as he says that, like a glowing blue arrow arcs up from the street and like sort of, I don't know, Looney Tunes style, like turns and points at you, and then
Oh, cool. Okay.
back to it. Well, this is all description. But when did you presence attacked on your 8, right? Wait, what?
Uh.
Let's
Yeah.
go back to, let's go
Uh,
back to what exactly happened in the timing chart.
yeah. So I was going on 8, and then the hazards were going to get an action on 9.
You escaped on 8. Okay, and so the hazards act on 9, and I did not really complete this hazard, but this magic missile, I think, doesn't really have the defense would be some kind of, well, solid, but it's magical. Like the defense would be something related to like magical armor, I think. So yeah, I think you're just gonna eat this magic missile.
Okay.
And that's going to be 3d6 piercing. So that's only 6 damage. Well, pretty low. So you'll take 6 damage, and the other hazards, the goons are going to, once again, since you've like flown up to another roof, they have to spend their turn climbing another
Poor
another
guys.
roof. This time they don't have a stairway,
Right.
so I'm sort of rule that like next time, if you want to act against them next time, they're going to be pretty disadvantaged. Well, I mean, they're hazards; they always have combat value 6 anyway. So,
Right.
but they're I guess the advantage mainly is they don't get to actually attack you this round. They have to try to climb the building.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
and so that's on 9. So, but you do like this magic missile just does shoot and hit you for 6. It probably grazes you and flies past, and then turns around and like wobbles in the air and starts tracking you
Oh,
again.
nice. Yeah, and I mean, I have knockout of 24, so that's a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I am, I'm not waiting around for that magic missile to come back. You kind of jump into the air, and I'm gonna dive into the building, uh, and dive all the, I've got both my arms out. My
I,
scimitars are floating, alongside me, and when I see the ground, I'm gonna level out, and I'm gonna try to, kind of shoot into the street, and
okay.
I probably don't have the movement to move and attack, right?
Uh, no, I mean it sounds like you're doing like in order to all the way down to. Oh, you're gonna try to.
I'm gonna try
What's
to
your
get down to the Alphatian who was in the
what,
street.
okay, what's your movement rate?
I can fly 15
You have
hexes.
15 hexes to fly. Okay, yeah, so you can get like 6 hexes as a half move. So yeah, you can attack this dude.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Um, and when you get down there, he's dressed in sort of. He's kind of dressed in like standard Karameikos fancy man style. Like he's
Hmm.
like a Renaissance, like Shakespeare dude with the pants and the little hat.
Nice.
And he's got like a cape with a clasp with like mystical symbols on it. So he's got some sort of and like a tool belt with like little pouches for his various spells and trinkets. So he's sort of a little bit wizarded up, but also very very fancy and
Nice.
kind of
Uh, okay.
kind
So
of in style for the location.
cool. Okay. Uh, my okay. So I'm still trying to get a sense of Sully's movements, but it's very cool. So wait, he does not level out. He lands, on the ground and kind of explodes into smoke. And
Okay.
then out of that smoke, so I'll burn some endurance for stretching here, because I'll probably need a couple of hexes. But out of that smoke is the arm, and it pulls a scimitar out, and I'm gonna try to cut this guy.
Okay.
So this is gonna be
It's
uh,
first combat value 6, so it's
oh,
not
so I just
difficult.
I just need to not roll an 18.
Well, yeah, basically.
Okay.
Okay,
And I did not roll an 18. Okay.
there we go. Go ahead and roll your. Just tell me what the body is, basically.
Okay. And does he have any defenses? Should I factor in the piercing?
Um, no defense. He is
Okay.
in civilian clothes.
Let's see, I'm at
Sorry
one,
to.
two, 7 body.
Okay. Do you want? Are you trying to kill this guy?
Yeah. I gave him a chance.
Okay, he's dead.
Cool. I think I just like snicked
I,
him across the throat, and I say like, your magic missile not fast enough, and it might like clatter to the ground right when he
yeah, yeah,
dies.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. It it droops sadly and then poops it away. Right. Okay. Uh, so you've pretty much cleared this. What would be your next move? I guess from here.
I would take a recovery action and then probably go and try to grab one of these thugs and pump them for information. Uh, it's kind of my. I'd be going back up onto the roof to continue the
Okay.
battle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think, given your movement ability, I'm just going to go ahead and say that's say that's what happens. Like I don't think these guys have any ability to fight you when you're not in a web.
Right. Okay,
Or
cool.
when you can control the space and where you pop out at, right?
Yeah.
So I think you just like managed to grab one of these guys, and he says, "Hey man, you can keep the money. Like I'm not mad about the blackjack."
Uh, I say, oh, before I pop up, let's go through the Alphatian's pockets. Did he have any
Okay.
coin on him?
No, go ahead and do a detective work roll again.
Oh, okay.
Are you looting the body? He has a potion of healing and 27 gold pieces, 13 electrum.
It was a failure on the detective work.
Yeah, you're on the detective work. Okay. You know, uh, yeah, you don't find anything out of the ordinary for what he's here and what he's supposed to be doing. Uh, so, but anyway, getting back to this
Yeah.
thug
So this
situation.
guy will tell him, I am I'm really not that angry at you. It's your lucky night. I'm not even going to how much were you paid to kill me? How much was the
All
price on my head?
right. He uh, he says we weren't gonna kill you. We were just gonna interrogate you and find out how much you were paid to shadow our boss.
Ah. Oh shit, did I just kill the Alphatian spy master I've been or embassy guy?
No, this is not that guy. This is a
Okay.
different guy. This is his purchasing agent. This is one of his employees. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna give this guy some coin and say, I take this, a little extra for yourself. Tell me everything. Um, about if or actually, I'll hold out the coin and say, not only will I give you your life, you can also earn a little extra if you um, tell me more about what your employer is doing here in the city, and maybe, you know, maybe some of his, if there are any haunts he has that where he does less legal business.
Okay. Well, I guess roll detective work again.
Okay.
Uh,
11, just barely.
okay. Finally, at
Yeah.
long last. All right. Uh, so yeah, I think he kind of tells you. He gives you like a drop location or like a. Let me just look at our map again and see what's a good spot. But he's basically going to tell you, yeah, this guy meets some pretty important people in town at this place down by the old Keys. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Quays. The old Keys. This is sort of like the commercial activity of the city has mostly moved to the South Harbor. This is like the
Okay.
new big commercial area, and then the old Keys is where it used to be, and it's now sort of like the it's where all the barges, like the pleasure barges, come and go. So it's sort of
Yeah.
like at the at the center of the like seedy bars and carousing, culture of the city. So
Nice. Yeah, just how in every city the old industrial areas become the entertainment
yeah,
center of the next
right.
generation. Yeah. um yeah, so I mean, I tell him, pray to whatever gods you worship. And that might be a bit of a put down, right? Uh,
Yeah.
that you don't see me again, and I'm gonna take off for the old keys.
So you're gonna head to the old keys to the site. I guess I'll give it a little texture. It's like a little it's like a little fountain square, or like a little kind of back alley square with like a fountain in the wall of the building with like a weird gargoyle face that shoots the water out of its mouth into a little bowl. And this is kind of like a forgotten little place where nefarious doings can happen. And
Nice.
you know, so you can sort of approach this area however you want. Uh, but mm, sorry, I'm just thinking about something.
Yep, no problem.
Uh, so where would you approach? What would your approach be from
Yeah,
if we just sort of imagine this little thing, this little place with a fountain between the narrow alleys of these buildings?
um, let's see. So I've got that. Okay. I would there are these narrow alleys, so I am going to flatten myself along one of these walls.
Okay.
Use the stretching right and become like
Yeah.
just as two-dimensional as possible,
Okay.
and kind of wait and what you
So you're like a graffiti painting on the wall? Is that what?
exactly, yeah, and my
Okay.
face is there and my ears, and then my ears kind of swim out to the
Yeah.
perimeter so I can listen at both ends of the alley.
Okay. I love it. All
And
right.
this will I'll go ahead and count this against my endurance here.
Okay. Yeah. You should have. I think probably you recovered at the other scene, right? So
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
probably fine. Anyway, I make another perception roll. Just
And I guess I also have stealth, so this could potentially be a stealth roll too.
yeah. You can go ahead. You can go ahead and do the stealth.
Cool.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Just to set the situation.
Ooh, failure by one.
Wait. What's the failure on the perception or the stealth?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were making. So I just failed on the stealth roll, and I'll make my
Okay. And
perception roll now. Sorry. And success on the perception.
okay. So you're in position, and a man comes into the alley, sort of wrapped up in a hooded cloak, but you can recognize his face. There's a couple things going on. He has sort of this big bushy white mustache, and you recognize him as a guy who's worked for the von Lutz family for many years.
Okay.
uh, and he sort of looks like he's going up over by the fountain to sort of lean against it on a bench, but then he spots you like on the wall, like painted on the wall or whatever, and he's like, that wasn't here. You can tell he's thinking that wasn't here the last time I was here. Like, he gets really nervous and starts looking around, and kind of doesn't stay very long before he gets up to leave. Like just then, as you're noticing him start to leave, you notice once again, like from the top of a building, lurking in the shadows, the hooded figure of Bargle and his strange, haunting face
Uh-huh.
is watching you from the rooftops.
So this whole, he's looking into my eyes, and I'm looking at Bargle, and then at him, like,
Yeah,
and I can't. I'm going after
yeah, he
Bargle.
sees he sees the eyes move. Okay,
Yeah. So I'm gonna fly. I'll take as many of my 15 hexes as it's gonna take to get up to Bargle.
okay, yeah, it's probably like a half move, like no more than anything, as I'd say.
Okay,
And
cool.
anyway, he stands there, just waiting for you to approach him. And as you fly up there, you get a closer look at him, and you can see like his face is more than just, you know, skeletal. Make it. Why not make another roll? Make a
Yeah.
perception roll.
Okay. Yeah, there's a ton of information I don't know right now, so
Yeah.
that is a success.
Okay. You. Okay. So as you get over, you're like noticing his eyes are, his face and his eyes are sunken, and there's this strange glow in his eyes, as if like there's there's some sort of like non-human power crackling within him, which is not as you remembered him.
Oh, I mean, I'll say uh Bargle the betrayer. I did not expect to see you again. I thought your bones were, eaten by the ravens. And I think when I land, I'm kind of towering above him, right? I'll make my muscles bulge and to kind of,
Yeah,
I'm still young and mighty and haven't aged.
yeah.
Uh, and I'll say, but actually, I'm not sorry to see you. For you might hold the key to something I want.
All right. And he says, something you want. It's not for you to want things. You are you are my slave, and I've found you again. So get in your lamp and come with me.
Uh, let's see. What am I?
Actually, he'll just go ahead and
Is this accompanied by an attack?
for various reasons, I don't think it actually is.
Okay.
Uh, but well, you made a perception roll. I guess I can come cleaner than I did. This is like, as he's talking to you, you realize this is sort of like some sort of. He's actually like made of some kind of crackling negative energy, and in other words, this isn't him. This is like
Mhm.
a projection. This is like a projection,
Oh, cool.
and I.
Uh, yeah. I say, if you were here in the flesh, I would show you what I do to those who call me slave. Uh, but nonetheless, I might be willing to come with you if you help me.
Uh,
And I mean, this
hmm,
might even be
what
presence.
exactly?
I mean, if I'm trying to like get him to see me as a person, and not as an object he can order around. I don't know.
He's he's your hunted, so you can't present the deck.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, but he says, uh, very well. What is it exactly that you want?
I wish to to be unmade from what I am and to become mortal. And you seem like one of the few people who might know how to accomplish this.
All right. Yes, that is that should be easy enough, although perhaps one of the stupider requests I've ever heard. After all, who would choose to die? Ridiculous. But very well. If you serve me in what I ask, then I will give you what you want.
Uh, you know you're younger than I am, Bargle. You don't understand how heavy the years can weigh. What would you have me do?
We we can discuss the task at. Uh, he said we can discuss the task at Castle Terror. It is not far in the mountains.
Okay. I say, I throw my cloak on, and kind of shrink back down to a size that can walk through the streets, right? And say, lead on, Spectre. Bring me to Castle Terror.
Okay. Okay. He takes off into the night sky and beckons you to follow him.